for environmental issues and climate change. So in this, so we'll understand different concepts associated with it. So so we all know there will be a solar radiation, short wave solar radiation. So let's say this is the Earth surface. So short wave solar radiation will be received. So why is it called a short wave? Because it has high energy. Because it is a solar radiation which is coming directly from the sun. So energy is high. So we also know that energy is indirectly proportional to wavelength. So here as energy is high, both are inversely proportional. So lambda, which is wavelength, will be low. So low wavelength means it means short wave. So it is called short wave solar radiation. So okay, whenever it reaches the Earth through atmosphere its surface, so albedo happens. So albedo is simply, what does albedo mean? Albedo is simply the reflecting capacity. So reflecting ability or reflecting capacity. So example white. So if there is a white surface, so it has high albedo. If there is black surface, it has low albedo. Means it absorb more rather than reflect. It reflect more rather than absorbing. So here, so albedo happens. So as the radiation, the solar radiation which reaches the surface, it will be radiated back in the form of a long wave radiation. Long wave radiation means it has low energy and high wavelength, high lambda. So long wave infrared radiation will be emitted from the Earth surface. So okay, this has been long wave radiation has been emitted by the Earth. This is fine. So now what happens? So there will be a concept called as the greenhouse gases, which will be present in the atmosphere. So we'll discuss in detail about these greenhouse gases in a little later. So as of now, we'll understand that there will be a presence of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Whichever the radiation, infrared radiation that is released by the Earth surface, which is getting reflected from the Earth surface, so the heat will be trapped by these greenhouse gases. So what happens whenever these greenhouse gases trap the heat? It leads to the global warming as temperature keeps on increasing as heat is trapping. So this global warming in a long span of time leads to the climate change. So this is the simple phenomena which we need to understand as of now. So we will discuss this clearly now. So yeah, so what we talked is so because of these greenhouse gases, there will be a global warming, means there will be a warming of Earth's atmosphere. This leads to a climate change in a long term. So now let's understand about the smoke. So smog is nothing but a combination of fog and smoke. So how we get smoke is through different sources like agriculture, vehicular, industrial, household. So there may be a number of ways where we get smoke. And fog, how the fog is formed. So fog is formed. So for the fog to be formed, we need temperature inversion condition. So at night time, so because of the cloudlessness, because of long nights, so the temperature inversion condition will be occurring. So this leads to formation of fog. So okay, we have fog and smoke. So this is a phenomenon is called as smog. So this is formed. So there will be two kinds of smog basically. So photochemical smog, which is also called as a Los Angeles smog, and the next is a London smog. So this photochemical smog is most important, which we'll be talking most number of times. So how this photochemical smog is formed? It is by the result of nitrous dioxide and volatile organic components. And London smog. This is formed by the result of SO2, sulfur dioxide, and particulate matter. So now let's understand what are the different greenhouse gases that are present. So these are the different popular greenhouse gases that are present, like carbon dioxide, CH4, N2O, hydrofluorocarbon, perfluorocarbon, and SF6. So if whenever the carbon dioxide is increasing, then there will be a water vapor will be increasing. So what does it mean? So it means the amount of greenhouse gases present in the atmosphere. So that is what a water vapor. So if there is more water vapor, it indicates that there is more CO2 presence in the atmosphere. And other greenhouse gases is black carbon and brown carbon. Let us also understand the difference between the black carbon and brown carbon. So basically, after CO2, black carbon is the second largest contributor to climate change, and it is formed by the incomplete combustion, whereas brown carbon is formed by impure combustion of organic matter and biomass. But black carbon stays in atmosphere for just weeks, means it is less time when compared to the brown carbon. Whereas brown carbon will be suspended in the atmosphere for a long time and it will be present there for a long time. But ironically, this black carbon even stays for less time in the atmosphere, but it has a high global warming potential. So what does it mean by global warming potential? So it is nothing but ability of the greenhouse gas to trap the heat in Earth atmosphere related to the CO2. So here we take CO2 as a reference. So how much CO2, so presence of CO2 will capture the heat. So we take it as a reference here. So here this is the order of greenhouse uh, global warming potential by greenhouse gases. So SF6. So even if it stays for a long time, but it has a huge global warming potential, means presence of it for even a less time will be able to capture more number of high amount of heat. So next followed after SF6 is HFC, hydrofluorocarbon. Next is perfluorocarbon, N2O, CH4, CO2. CO2 is lowest because for a simple reason because we are taking it as reference.